everyone. Spirit of 420 here because everything I do is so 420. And I am totally running late today trying to put my rings back on because I usually brush my teeth real quick. It's a long story. Let's go ahead and get a hitting going here and get some Mary Jane going. So the stories that I share on here are 100% factual, and I can prove it. The opinions are mine, and you can't have them, but you are more than welcome to share them, which I imagine that some of you do. Junk in my eye here. That sucks. Excuse me. That's one of those strange things about me. I cannot stop the crap in my eye. I'll tell you that. It's just like I've always thought that I was possibly, how do you say, allergic to a certain degree to marijuana. I was just talking about that with someone else. But I do mean it in the sense that for years, number one, as long as I can remember, my eyes have always gotten highly affected. And what's funny is, by the end of the day, my eyes are just bloodshot red. Now, it used to be that once I smoked at all, they would be bloodshot as hell. But, over the years, that has changed. Hey there. And it's just gotten, how do I say, it's lessened, but it's still there. My eyes get red, but now it's by the end of the day, they get extremely red. I will say this, the heavier that I smoke, will determine how quickly they get red. Sometimes they're red by 7 o'clock. Other times they're red by 9. So it just depends on the day. I love my wife, but she's a sweetheart. But she packs my bowls for me before the show, and God love her. She really has a bad habit of packing them too tight. It's like fucking trying to suck a golf ball through a hose, as they say from the old days. I was running late, clearly running late tonight, and so one thing I'm a little worried about. A friend of mine, I just put a tweet out. He is my best bud that lives here locally, and he's also, quite frankly, my number one fan. And, we're pretty close, so we even have read receipts on as far as our messages, and he hasn't read or answered back. Part of his job is literally being on the road all day. He's up late, gets very little sleep, and then he's has to, be on the road. He does environmental work. So needless to say, I am just a little concerned. Maybe everybody could put out some positive vibes and some prayers for him. Had to transfer the didn't get any on it. Good. Had to transfer the coffee from the tumbler, which keeps it warm, to the cup so I can drink that shit down. Oh my God, when I say it keeps it warm, it's fucking hot. Wow. I think I've mentioned it before, but this stupid little thing, man, this wife got it at Walmart for $10. It's just metal with a plastic top. I kid you not, but it will keep something warm. I have literally put coffee in here, drove for a half hour, went and had an hour meeting, came back out, and it was still, and I wasn't boiling hot, but it was still warm and enjoyable to drink, like a warm cup of coffee. That's pretty freaking amazing, if you ask me. So I'm probably going to keep tonight's show short. I am honestly worried about him. He's almost always here. I'm looking now. Okay. All right. There it is. All right. So he's alive. Thank God. Now I can feel a little bit better about going on the show. He just texted me. So anyway, it's just when, people act differently than their behavior, day after day. And then all of a sudden, and it's not, it's definitely not, trying to keep tabs on him. It's just, he would have always texted me back by now. The first text over to him was this morning at like 8 something or somewhere in there, something like that. Wow, that is still freaking hot as hell. Let's see if we can maybe get a hit in here. Tonight's topics, by the way, I figured, I'm not going to tell stories, and I may end up telling a story throughout this episode. But really, the topic for this evening was new internet-based relationships, friendships. And when I say relationships, I don't mean lovers. I'm talking about the relationship of of becoming friends with somebody, right? And what is the etiquette? That's kind of where I am right now. And what I mean by that is, when you meet somebody, it's really hard to express to them just how strange you are, right? And when you say how strange you are, it's like nobody except for the people who live with you ever know you, right? But at least the people that get to meet you face to face, they see your face, they see things. It's one of the reasons why I like doing these videos, because y'all can see my facial expressions, and if you ever talk to me, you'll hopefully know, kind of the way I'm talking back to you. Wow. All right. I'm probably going to go to a dad. Can you believe that shit? I love her. She it's because she did it so fast, and then she ends up putting too much. So, by the way, before I get into that's the topic for tonight, right? What is the etiquette, and how do you deal with it, and how do you make sure to, first of all, I will say this, some of what I'm talking about is how do you weed out the people that are actually, really good friends, and then the people that are just going to be internet acquaintances and give you kudos and that kind of thing. Now, for the sake of, what is it? Anonymity and anonymity, excuse me. For the sake of anonymity, I'm not going to be going over any names. I will say this: there's a few of you out there that probably know that I'm talking somewhat about getting to know you, but it's really more this is really more about me. How do I act? How do I make sure to portray myself the way that, because I fucking can't stand, I don't know about y'all, raise your hand if you can't stand texting, because it doesn't have the same, it's, everybody knows it. It's not like it's something new, but it loses a little something because you don't always get the context when you don't hear the inflection in someone's voice, or the rise in tone, and the different things that give you clues as to how they're saying things. Still tight, but much better hit. So again, that's going to be the topic. Last night's episode was really awesome. I almost broke down today, I got to tell you. Excuse the coughing, the slurping. Ended up getting a message from Dirty, who y'all saw last night. And it's amazing. Apparently there was quite a number of vets who tuned in. Not only that, but there was quite a number of vets who ended up watching, I think, afterwards. And then they, those guys that did watch went to the Discord that we talked about last night, which I will end up putting in here. How's it going? Yeah, it's hard. It's not, but there's nothing we do is without emotion. Anyway, they went to the Discord where, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I have it in my stoner memory. I have it in there. I believe it's, oh, damn it. Anyway, it really doesn't matter. It'll be in the description in here, I promise you, later on this evening. But they went in there and apparently, there was a big, well, I don't want to say big because that sounds bragging, but what do we got here? Hey, how's it going, man? Nice to see you, Zon. It definitely caused a little bit of I say ruckus. And there's an outpouring of vets that want to come on and share their story and share their experience. And I think this thing, everything with me just really goes with the flow, right? So I try to do where it leads. And it apparently is going to be leading to where, these guys will, and not necessarily these guys were from Discord, but then I also talked to the guys over it, because there's, for those of you who are following, there is technically two different groups. Dirty is part of both of them. Then you have the veterinarian, excuse me, military vet help, which is now Military Vet Network. And it's not that they oppose one another. I'm just saying, you try to keep everything, understand everything. Just know that where I went today was the Discord, and these are all growers. And it's not I found out today to fully understand it. The guy that started this, he is a vet, and it was meant to be a safe place, obviously for vets, but not a vet only type thing. And so it's really for anybody who wants to learn about marijuana, learn about the strains, growing it. As he put it today, I thought this was great the way he talked about it. He's like, if somebody's plant is dying, you can jump on here and find out how to fix it before it actually dies and you lose that harvest, right? I mean, nobody wants to do that. It's a lot of work to grow these things. People don't realize that. So what they've created is a safe place, because there are quite a number of civilians. Thanks, man. Good vibes, positive vibes always, brother. Again, how do I say it's a safe place that they've created for marijuana growers. Obviously, I think there's a predominant number of vets, but that's only because the guy that started is a vet. So it's where vets can go and feel comfortable and not feel judged. The same token, any civilian that goes there, I promise you, doesn't feel judged. They have a simple set of rules. I think there was 13, maybe more than that. I can't remember all the numbers, but I read over them. There was nothing in there. It was literally just basically in a nutshell, don't be a dick. Don't spam, don't blow the chat up with advertisements. It's there for informational and information sharing, right? Information sharing and support and gathering and that kind of thing. It's not there to go and sell your product. So if you think you're going to do that, by the way, when you see this, it's not going to happen. I promise you, the admin, the mod he'll knock that shit right out. Great group of guys, though. Probably going to do, the way it's looking, I may end up doing quite a few things with them. And what I mean by that is different projects kind of I'll just put it under the umbrella of marijuana and veterans, because there's, rather than just focus on the suicide part, which is important. 22-0 is absolutely important. The marijuana is extremely important too. And in fact, that actually prevents a lot of these guys from becoming part of that statistic. So, we're kind of talking about today, and all this is still up in the air. I want to let everybody know that every day for me is just another day. There's no contracts here. There's no, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing written in stone. So these things can change and evolve into whatever they're going to become. But on that token, I know that there's going to be a couple different projects, and I know that we're really going to try to focus on the positive things, and always keep in mind, if you will, not even in the background, but always keeping in mind that the whole reason we're doing this is to get these guys help so they don't become part of that statistic. And my thought, and had some discussions, other people have had discussions about it, is that, tell the stories of the happiness and all that. That way they can see the light on the other side. Okay. So regardless, that's going to be evolving. And I can't wait to see where it goes. It's very exciting. I love anything to do with marijuana. I love anything to do with veterans, and I love anything to do with making people feel better. So it's got all signs point to yes. I am feeling a little, how do you say, strange. And that's why I want to talk about this, because what ends up happening, let's just get right into the topic. I don't really want to be on here a very long time tonight. I was on for 2 hours last night. And, the funny thing is, when I'm on here doing this, it's fun, it's enjoyable, and I'm reaching people. I'm making another episode, all that good stuff. But I'm also taking time away from myself and my family. And, it is what it is. And I kind of knew tonight would probably not be the biggest engagement. I'm really just doing this mostly to get off of my chest, and then people can see it later. I mean, it's Friday night. I don't expect a lot of people. I think Thursday night's a better night. But I'll be still, I don't care. I'm going to keep recording them because I'm recording these. A lot of this is for prosperity's sake, right? This is a documentation of not only who I was, who I am, and who who I am evolving into. Excuse me. Pardon me. Again, wow. Excuse me. It must be that coffee. Maybe that means I need to drink more, or have a dab, or maybe it's time. Y'all all know. All the bowls are known tonight. This is Senor Rick, right? Steamroller Rick gives a great hit. Not like a dick. That is wonderful. So let's just dive right in. I'm part of what I dealt with. Part of, if you live on the dark side of life, if you will, or live in the dark, and what I mean by that is you live with more concepts of fear and hate and jealousy and envy and all those things. It's typically, I shouldn't say it, for me, I'll say it that way, for me, because this is about me. For me, it was, a lot of it was my own insecurities. And I just talked about this again today, but I deal with those constantly. Just because I'm living in the light and I feel positive and I get past things, there's still these voices up here in my head, and they, how do I say, they constantly want to drag you down. They question everything you do, even though your motives are pure. Now it's different when you don't give a shit, because you literally blow that shit off. I know it sounds funny, but if you're living in all those and you're consumed with those feelings, then when you do something, you tend to be pretty pompous about it, if you will, almost cocky, and you just think your way is right. I'm dealing with that with my son, who I love dearly, but he can't get past the forest for the trees, if you will. So internet-based relationships, there's a lot of things that you have. They're like relationships. They're like crippled or if your relationship was a four-legged animal, it's trying to go on three. Maybe no, and that's not even good, because almost all animals that have four can transfer right on over, and they just have a little hop to them. It's like trying to go from 4 to 2. It's crippling. Same thing, I guess. That's easy enough. It's just like being a human and you have crutches, right? What I mean by that is you're robbed of a lot of the essentials that we are used to. A lot of people don't think about that, but it's more than just a disconnect, right? It's all of it. You can't reach out and give them a handshake or a hug, or they can't see you reacting to every little thing that they're going through. So then when that happens, right, and you're trying to talk to them, especially if you're not even talking, right? Especially when you're talking about just texting, and there's all these different dimensions of it. There's comments and posts that happen everywhere online, right? From YouTube to Twitter to Twitch, all these other places. Then you have these chat boxes, and we've all been around them for years now. I mean, this is nothing new. I'm just saying each one actually poses a different environment. Like the way that I'll act in a personal chat, right? Or a private chat or a direct message or whatever the hell you want to call it, is definitely different than the way I might act in no, it's definitely not it is a different, not persona, but a different set of rules from when I'm posting something that I know everybody can read, right? And of course, the whole concept now of gifs and memes, I mean, I use them too, so don't think for a minute that I'm putting anybody down. I kind of love those, quite frankly, adding those many times, because they give you a new, an additional way of showing, I'm joking, or this is meant to be serious, or this is meant to be this, or whatever. Most of the time I kind of use them to make them. I like to make them funny, and whatever I said, I try to find something that is relevant to it, right? Add a GIF. But again, it's still limiting. It's all limiting. Uh, you don't have you just don't have the humor interaction that is normally there when you're talking to someone face to face. Now you get obviously much closer when you talk to someone, right? Which is some of the reasons I like using Discord, or I've even given a select few people that I obviously feel like I have a deep connection with. I've given those select few people my number, and those texts are different. Like it's funny. Once you give them your number, at least this for me. Once I give someone my number, I not only feel a little bit closer to them, I feel a little bit more vulnerable to them, but I also feel like I talk, and I'm willing to go probably a little bit further than I normally would, if that makes sense. And what I mean by further is, more liberties, take more liberties in the conversation, because we've moved on past, it's like levels. There it is. I knew when I started talking about this, it would all just kind of come to light. So, what is the etiquette? Well, obviously, one of the things that you can easily say right off the bat is that there's levels of friendship, right? And not to sound, you can't recreate soul to soul online or text. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And where was I at? Time to take another hit. That's where I was at. Hey, I could finally hit that bowl now. I hit it enough to clear it out. Now I have to do that with big blue balls. This is actually one of my favorite hitting bowls, but it's just really packed tight right now. So again, it's levels. I got it back. I knew I would. Just had to take a break. Remember what I was talking about. You literally have different levels, and as they make it up, like there's the phone call, right? But then it goes to yet an even closer level and even closer to real life, right? When you do like a FaceTime call, or however whether it's FaceTime or you can do it in Discord. I mean, there's so many different apps now, right? It doesn't matter. But a face to face where literally the only thing that's missing is to be able to reach out, right? That's it. That's the only missing component anymore. So touch would be the final, particularly if you're talking about the senses. Otherwise, in the video, everything is activated now, right? And I can say this: there's been, I mean, I'm literally trying to think. It's maybe on my 1, 2, 3, 4. Not counting, I was in a group chat today, but that was different because none of those guys, only one of those guys was from Twitter. And how do I say it? It was a group thing, right? So it wasn't focused. It was like doing a Zoom call. But when it comes to direct hooking up with somebody because they have my personal information, that isn't even 5 people. So just kind of looking at it, I have now that's not to say that there's not a few more. There's quite a few people in my DM, and I told you I won't yell any names out, but there's a couple guys that start with W. I'll just say that, and they know who they are. I'm sure I'll end up talking to those guys. Hell, one of them, I believe, may even come onto the show one day. It all depends on what he has going on, what I have going on, where things go. I know he'd like to, but everybody has different things in their lives, different moments. It's all about timing too, right? You have to have the right timing to do things. But I know this, the ones like for me, again, if I give somebody my phone number, I've come to a damn near pretty good place of trust for them, right? So then what happens is you trust this person, but you still never met them. There's this one piece, that physical moment of bonding, having a beer, having a joint, tripping on mushrooms, whatever the case may be. And you've got to be able to share that moment. So for me, I deal with insecurities. I deal with, are they going to take my message the right way? Then I end up, second guessing myself, and it becomes this rotating game in my head of questioning myself and am I doing the right thing? Blah blah blah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have dealt with your own insecurities. I can't be the only one that has going through self-reflection, right? Or else you probably wouldn't be here. That's my guess. What I do know is I continue to only I made the decision when I started doing this that no matter what, like, I mean, I really, when that guy dropped me, that, and y'all remember a while back, but there was somebody that blocked me. Sorry, when that guy blocked me, that, everything, it was so fucking hard not to, because just because you blocked me in one place, what, I mean, come on, I'm a pretty smart, savvy guy. I could have gotten a message to him every time I wanted him to see something. I could have gone out and started a new Twitter account just to tell him something, right? So when I say I fought, it was everything in me. I fought everything in me to do that type of shit, And I've never said another word. You don't want to talk to me? That's the way it's supposed to be, and I accept that, and that's where I've come to. But it was really hard. And what I mean by that is it's the same kind of thing, because I just don't know how to explain it, or maybe y'all are getting it already. But when you've talked to somebody face to face before, and you've had that conversation, you now have a different trust in you that what you're saying is being heard correctly. That's it. I think that's it in a nutshell. Once you've had that final piece of the pie, so to speak, and shook a hand, had a beer, gave them a hug, whatever the case may be. Because I'm not talking about sex here. I'm talking about friendships, right? The relationship of friends. Once you have that, I don't care if it's only once, you have a different bond and trust. And to give you for instance of what I mean, a couple of years ago, maybe, was it 3? Jeez Louise, time flies. Yeah, it was more than 3 years ago. I went to this convention. It really doesn't matter what kind, but I went to a convention in Denver, and I met quite a few people. And funny enough, just like any convention, I shouldn't say it's funny, but sure enough, just like any convention, I ended up getting a lot of cards. I even ended up getting to the point where a couple people, took their picture and put their phone number in my phone, so that way I could really remember the moment. And I say that because we would end up having what amounts to an extremely deep conversation, like really deep conversation. And it's amazing how deep you can go. Again, the subject matter was obviously one that lent itself to it. I'll just say that. But it's amazing if you already have an in, as they say out there. If you already have an in, someone can be technically a stranger, and then in 15 minutes you have like just the deepest fucking conversation with them, right? Not maybe a year. Trying to think. Maybe it was 2 years ago. That line. No, I don't know. Seems like it was maybe not quite 2 years ago. One of the guys that I ended up having one of those kind of conversations with, and we smoked the bowl. Took his picture. He was on my phone. We never actually text. We just talked like, and the conference or the convention was 2 days in a row, and we ended up talking both days. And then out of the blue, I mean, I kid you not, out of the blue, I got a phone call, and it was him, and he was asking advice. Now, I mean, that's my point. I mean, and we were right back where we left off in that moment. The advice had to do with that. It was relationship advice and how to handle a certain aspect of it. And we were right back in that moment, man. Like it was as if we were standing outside the it wasn't an auditorium. What was it? What do you call it? What the fuck was it? Maybe I guess it was called an auditorium, or maybe a civic center. No, I think we were at a hotel. That's right. So one of their convention centers. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Because I remember now they had the fake fucking walls that they put in place everywhere. But we were right back at that convention center when he called, and it was kind of like, picked up right where we left off. And what I mean by that too is not necessarily the conversation, but I mean wavelengths, in the easiest way of saying it. We were right back where we were, where you're in the zone and you really understand what the other person's talking about, saying, asking, whatever it is. And, with all the people that I've met and all the things I'm doing, and, the funny thing is that conversation, I don't remember getting so passionate that I came to tears. And I mean that. And I've had some conversations. Hell, I've had episodes where I've gotten to that point, and I've had some conversations with some folks where I literally got that emotional. But it's still not the same. I can feel it. Like I can look at it like reading a book in two passages, and which one of these is not like the other kind of thing. And that's not to down any of these folks. I don't want to down myself either. I imagine that they probably feel the same thing if they stop and think about it. And maybe some of them do, maybe some of them don't. I don't know. But we're talking about me and what I deal with, So when you come back full circle, when I'm sitting there texting or posting something to somebody or something like that, that's the kind of analyzation that goes through it before I ever even do one. So you can imagine how many times I rewrite a text or rethink a tweet, or something like that. Because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and all that, because you just don't know them the same way that you know someone that you've met in real life. They don't quite know your sincerity. They don't, I don't know theirs, right? So they can't possibly know mine. And again, it's me. And I know that. So how do you deal with it? What is the etiquette? To me, the etiquette and what I've come to, because I know I had it as a question mark, but I mean, obviously I feel like I have an answer. The answer is pretty simple. I try to stay transparent. Number one, I try not to lie about anything or embellish anything or anything like that. I try to stay on course. I try to tell myself, why I'm doing this, and particularly when I'm talking to someone, as I said, there was different levels, right? Those are the basic levels, if you will, for just like tweeting. And then there's like, direct messaging, private messaging, texting, and all that. Those roles then become, always keep it positive, never be mean. I shouldn't say never be mean. What's the word I'm looking for? Try not to blame. I think that's probably it. Because blaming, that just sets anybody off. I don't like to be blamed. And I'm learning another one, like try to focus things on me, especially, somebody new that you talk to. You don't want to come across as being like, the know-it-all or anything like that, because that's the last thing that I am. I keep learning. Just said that to Duck from the other night. I keep learning every day. I mean, that to me is part of the journey. I think the day that you stop learning, then you stop growing, and that's it. If you do that before you die, then that's a real mundane experience. So, I mean, I learned like 4 or 5 things today just on Discord alone. And, to shout out to those guys on there, the growers. I learned how to do a reaction on Discord, which may sound freaking easy, but every platform, creates their stuff differently and sets it up differently. So. Still here. Just didn't want to cough in your ear. Thought that was the polite thing to do. I'm still doing that. Accelerate to talk to not cough. Anywho, so to me, the etiquette is really simple. There's a basic set of rules, and then with each level, and I think I said them all, but with each level, you add more rules. Obviously, this is the funny thing. I mean, my rules, I have rules for life too, right? And a lot of people are like, I hate rules. I get it. But I used to hate rules. I was always the one that said rules suck. And when I was, I think all the way up till about 16, because my parents and family, they all pick on me still for it. Well, at least the ones, I guess not my shisters, because they're shitters. Not that women are horrible. Women are awesome. My sisters suck. Let me be clear on that. I'm saying that because I know for a fact. Who do we have here? Oh, well, that's just. There we go. All right. So that wasn't very positive, was it? I don't know if anybody saw that. That was a what do you call it? A text bomb or something like that. So somebody's angry. It's okay. Let them be. Again, I have rules for life, and the one thing I try to never do is be an asshole anymore to anybody. But particularly, how do I say it? It's just different once you meet them, because once you meet them, all the rules become customized for that particular person, and everybody I'm sure knows what I mean by that. I'm just trying to put it in, basic terms, but you end up learning their idiosyncrasies, their intricacies, all their behaviors. So then those, how do you say, those, they just, it's each one becomes separate, just like the way you would deal with any business. A good business owner never treats every single customer the same, because you can't expect them to all be the same. So, when that kind of thing happens, it's okay to just realize that, what I'm trying to do is learn that it's okay to realize that I'm not perfect. I'm not going to. Sorry, I got interrupted because somebody's just being angry and hateful. Which is funny. It would happen when I was, talking about friendships. I think that's funny. But again, you come up with a set of rules that's particular for each person, and it's the same for like a business, like I said. So why wouldn't you do that for a friend? I don't treat every friend the same, and I don't expect every one of my friends to treat me exactly the way they treat all their other friends. And some may. I mean, I should say that's bad. I don't like that, because then that puts an expectation. I hope that they learn that I'm different and not. I don't understand what's going on here. I think I'm about to go ahead and wrap it up, because this is just getting annoying. I don't need it. Again, how do I say, you never know what's going to I mean, you see here, like I'm talking about trying to be nice, and I have someone hating on me, which I just don't even get. But it's okay, it's the world. It is what it is. But I would hope, which is what I was trying to say, that my friends know that I'm not like their other friends, and give me the same return courtesy. Um, the reality is I try to treat people the way that I want to be treated, but then again, something that I figured out is sometimes the way that I want to be treated is not the way someone else wants to be treated. So it's a tricky thing when you say that, right? Treat people the way you want to be treated. Well, what if the way you want to be treated is not acceptable to the person that you're meeting? Then what do you do? Then where do you go? You're like, okay, so I don't know how to treat them that makes them feel better and good and all the things that I'm trying to do, because it ends up rubbing them the wrong way. And then you're like, okay, I don't know what to do. Which is why I said, what is the etiquette with a question mark? I mean, I feel like I have an etiquette, but then my etiquette, like I just said, and that's really the end of it, is based on the reality that, how I perceive things. And that's something that I keep trying to work on. Really, really, how do I say? I really work extremely hard on that, actually, because I don't. Um, I have really just recently come to the fact that saying 40 minutes, that's perfect time. That saying really is as how do you say, as genuine and nice as it's supposed to be, and the way that it's supposed to be taken. It's really biased because it's all based on how you perceive things and what you like. When in reality, not everybody likes what I like. Not everybody wants to be treated the way that I want to be treated. So when I do that, I have to know at some point I'm going to rub somebody the wrong way. Period. I hope I don't. The friends that I have, I've tried to only be nice, and I think that they know that. But maybe I'm being over nice. Maybe some people don't like you being nice all the time. And I thought about that. Jesus. I really just lost my train of thought again. Um, oh shit. Oh, okay. There it is. I got it back. And then I'm gonna do my closing, regardless of what happens over the next 3 minutes. I mean, that just I won't even get into it. Um, the bottom line is, when you practice that methodology, you have to realize that you're one of 8 billion plus souls in this world, and the fact is, you're okay. So why would you come in here to somebody who's open minded and definitely does not believe in using the word with the hard R? I mean, I know the meaning of the word in the past, but I would never use it. Period. Especially considering I have so many people of different colors and nations in here. It's disrespectful. Can you understand that then? If you're trying to be realistic, I'll give you a second to reply. I Yes, you're absolutely right. I'll take a minute. If you give me a second, I'll say that. I agree. But if you're trying to be a nice person, then part of it is walking on eggshells, because you don't want to set somebody off. Like, I mean, to give you, for instance, I'm working with these vets. These guys deal with PTSD. And I don't know if you have dealt with that. I don't know if you yourself are a vet. And I mean, no disrespect to blocking your other things, but I just didn't appreciate the bombing. My whole thing is to try to give respect wherever I can, because I used to not give a shit about respecting anybody's personal decisions. Right. So for me, I get your term, walking on eggshell. I got to take a sip of coffee. I I don't consider it walking on eggshells so much as me second guessing myself at this point, because I don't want to hurt that person's feelings. Genuinely. I don't know if you can, and I mean this wholeheartedly, I don't know if you can accept that. I don't know if that's, if that in the simplest of terms makes sense to you. You may still see it as walking on eggshells no matter what I say. I know I've had conversations where no matter what you say, people just see it differently, and that's okay. I will say this. I am one that I believe in agreeing to disagree. I am not going to agree with everybody out there, and everybody out there is not going to agree with me. And I'm sure that, what is that? I parrot whatever I think will get me likes and popular. You don't know me, dude. You have not watched my show. You really haven't watched my show. I know others don't care about my feelings. That's not it. You don't know me. And that's clearly obvious, and that's fine. Okay. But this isn't about anybody else. If you were listening from the very beginning, this is about me and doing for me and what I'm doing. This is about me walking in the light and trying to be as good a person as I can, regardless of what anybody else says. I'm not a parrot. You really don't know me. Okay. I don't care about the likes or the popularity. I'm doing it because the more people that I talk to, like the way these vets were touched, they now have a place that they feel comfortable coming and talking about their stories. I have provided that for at least 10 people. So that's at least 10 more people that I've helped. That's what I'm doing it for, whoever you may be. With that, everybody, as you know, my closing, it'll be on here in a minute for the outro. Everybody has opinions, and everybody thinks that everybody else's stink. Mine stink like fine brewed coffee and dank ass medical legal. I love the fact that it's legal now. Legal weed. Oh, I picked the wrong one. That's right. That's the one that I cannot. That's back to golf ball hose. I'll have to go to Senor Rick. Who gave it to me nice and slick. Thank you, Rick. And as always, most people don't realize just how normal strange is. Go out there and share your strangeness. Find out that, when you say something that you think is strange, you'll share it with somebody and realize, hey, they'll come back and be like, nah, dude, check this out. It happens almost every time. Very, very rarely. In fact, I can't think of a situation where I shared something strange, except for on here where nobody can talk back to me, where I shared something strange and the person that I was talking to didn't come back with something equally or even stranger and be like, see, dude, it's okay, man. We're all strange. Until the next episode, stay positive. Keep the vibes coming. I'm sorry, what was that? I really don't think you know me. You should go watch my trailer. I don't know who you are, and I no matter what you've said, I don't know if you've noticed, but not one negative word has come out from me other than I don't agree with it. Okay, but you should watch my trailer because, quite frankly, whether you believe it or not, I know here in my soul, I'm one of the most genuine, authentic people you will ever meet, especially who's doing this kind of stuff. That is my whole fucking mantra. And just so you know, I'm not one of anybody. I don't know what I honestly don't know what SJW means. I do apologize. Unfortunately, hey, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I do not know what again, am I making it right? I don't have my glasses. And now I'm bumping into the mic. SJW. Singing jerkwad. Is that it? I'm guessing. I don't know that one. I'm sorry. I don't know that acronym. But I will tell you, it's already out there. So I'm not going to be telling you nothing that you can't find out. I'm a 50-year-old. I was a heavy drug dealer from 16, actually starting technically back in 14. So over 10 years, there was a little bit of a time off when I went to AA, NA, and CA. But then I became a drug lord. And then I became a father at 28, and that changed my life. And now I'm here to talk about all that stuff because I was a real piece of shit for a long time. And now I live in the light and I live in positivity, and I'm just trying to spread that. So go watch my trailer and you'll find out that that's the truth. I know, I appreciate it very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Strangeberg. Glad to see you again here as a loyal fan. I'm going to have to go look up SJW. Excuse me for coughing. Damn it, I forgot. I know. Trust me, my wife will tell me later, you forgot to move away from the mic, dickhead. Anyway, have a blessed day. Have a wonderful day. Or actually, it's night, so have a blessed night. Have a wonderful day tomorrow and a weekend. It is weekend. I will be doing something, but if you follow me there. Anyway, you know what? Forget it. It doesn't matter. Have a good evening. Until the next episode. Social justice warrior. Is that really what you thought that I was, dude? Social justice warrior? I'm non-political, man. Or woman. I don't know who you are. I'm not political. I do not get political. I do not talk about those. And in fact, if you knew me, I am literally crossed down the middle because my mother is as liberal as they get. And my father, I was raised, that's a military side. That's about as conservative as you get. And I just don't want to see a vet blow his head off because he didn't get the help he needed. Is that political? I ask you. If you feel like that is, then I guess maybe that's social justice. I did not and was not aware of it being so. And for that, I'll stop because now I'm just being on a tangent. And I'm not negative. Didn't get negative. I'm just saying I'm answering, if that's what it is, then, I just want that person to know that is definitely not me. My thing is more about strangeness and acceptance amongst anybody, really. Anybody. So that said, until the next episode, I got to go over here to the screen. Sorry, I always fuck this up. Still new at this stuff, but most of y'all bear with me, and I appreciate that. Most people don't know how normal strange is, right? Everybody has their own opinions. We all know it. That's getting ready to come back up here in a minute. Until the next episode, obviously you'll get notifications. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time.